Hi, Super Friends. I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Welcome to DCTV Recap, the show where we talk about all the CW DCTV shows. Not Lucifer, not Gotham, just the CW ones. Stop asking me in the comments. All right, this week, Ashley.
Yes.
Actually, last week, right after we did our DCTV recap.
How could they be so inconsiderate?
I know, they should know us. The Arrowverse producers released an image drawn by the amazing DC artist Phil Jimenez of Infinite Crisis, Wonder Woman, and Superwoman fame.
Love him.
He's a great and nice gentleman. Basically revealing this year's crossover, not next year's crossover, and it's called Crisis on Earth X. And
or Earth 10, depending on
how
you like your numbers.
We're going to talk about that a little bit, actually. Basically, I just want to say real quick that about 6 months ago at a DCTV, I predicted this very crossover. I was like, if they wanted to do a cool crossover, they would do the Crime Syndicate, and they're not. It's not the Crime Syndicate, but they're
this universe's version of.
Yeah, I was like, it would be really cool if we saw evil versions of the same characters, and guess what they're doing? Now, let's talk about this image a little bit. All right, now, not only do we get some really cool, like, you know, the evil Flash looks very much like Zoom. Evil Arrow's new costume looks a lot like the Rebirth costume, actually.
I like it a lot, actually.
Supergirl's costume looks amazing, the evil Supergirl costume. And then there's a little figure down there by Iris. Well, not only is it confirming that the wedding of Barry and Iris is going to happen this episode, but there's a little hooded figure down there. Kind of looks like Prometheus.
It does look a lot like Prometheus. It's particularly the faceplate that makes it look like Prometheus. Yep. The thing that I think is really interesting is that this Dark Archer figure, I guess for lack of a better word, has a green hood.
Yep. Which could just be the coloring. We don't know.
Could just be the coloring, but could also be an implication that maybe in this universe that character works with Green Arrow.
Well, let's answer this. Do we? Okay, I think it is Prometheus.
I do too.
And it's okay. So all right. So that answered my question right there. Real quick, Ashley, what do you know of Earth X? Let's tell everybody out there what Earth X is, just in case they don't know what it is.
I don't know anything about Earth X.
Well, actually, Earth X is basically Nazi Earth. It is the Earth in the DC multiverse where the Nazis won World War II. It's actually interesting that they're setting it in this world because this world has Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. It has many other characters like the Human Bomb and Phantom Lady and stuff like that. And earlier at San Diego Comic-Con, we revealed that the new CW Seed animated series is going to be The Ray, taking place in Earth X.
With Russell Tovey.
Well, that's the thing that they also revealed, that, because I don't know if Russell Tovey is voicing the Ray in the animated series. I would hope he is.
He is, according to IMDb.
Oh, that's cool. So this is going to connect that animated universe to this live-action universe. Now, you also brought up the other thing about Earth X. We don't know. In the New 52 DC universe, Earth X is Earth 10.
Yes.
Okay? But back in the day when there were millions of Earths and whatever, it was just Earth X.
I brought that up also specifically because per the DCTV continuity, we are referring to them by their number names.
Yes, and also they stated in the Flash Season 2 that there are only 52 of them.
Yes, yeah, which is also like a new multiversity.
I like that. I think it allows you to have the multiverse, but to not go too crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, another interesting thing to note, there's two other interesting things to note. The producers have said that their version of Earth X is going to take place in a world similar to the multiversity story that takes place on Earth X. Now, if you remember the story where the multiversity, it's Grant Morrison's jaunt through the multiverse, and Jim Lee drew this issue.
Yes, he did. And
it was about the Nazi versions of the Justice League. Now, they were called, Superman was called Overman, because it was the idea that I think Superman landed in Nazi Germany, and that's the reason why, if I remember right.
Classic Elseworlds construct of a story.
Supergirl symbol on her chest, the evil Supergirl in this image, is Overman's symbol.
Oh, very interesting.
So here's another piece of speculation. Could Tyler Hoechlin appear in this crossover, not as Superman, but as Overman?
Ooh.
What do you think of the chances of that?
I had not thought of that. I love that idea. I know Tyler Hoechlin from his Teen Wolf days, and I will say he does play angry and scary very well, and I think in contrast to the super nice version of Clark Kent that he's bringing to the screen, I would love to see that. I think that'd be amazing.
I think it would be a neat idea. Also, I think this would be a neat idea to form a version of the Justice League, an evil version of the Justice League.
This might be our only chance to get a version of Batman.
That I think too, especially if we do not call him Batman.
Mm-hmm. Make him Owlman or whatever. But...
Yeah. But this might be the closest we ever get to a version of Batman in the DCTV universe. One last thing, looking at this image, there's a person up in the corner above. Oh, I just figured it out. I'm an idiot. I was just about to ask you who this. There's a person in the image that's above Supergirl, and I was gonna be like, who is that? Is that Martian Manhunter? And I'm pretty certain that's the Ray.
You're not an idiot. We've barely seen the Ray. I wouldn't have known. I was like, he looks like the Rocketeer.
It's just the way the coloring is in his mask. It kind of blends into his face, and so I was like, is that Martian Manhunter's new costume?
I hope Martian Manhunter is in this crossover.
I'm pretty certain he'll be in this costume. We also had some questions about Zari in the corner there. That is Isis. So, yeah, that is Isis. Overall, are you happy with this choice for the crossover or not happy with this choice?
I'm definitely happy with this choice for the crossover. I loved the Invasion crossover last year. I really appreciate that we're folding Supergirl in a more meaningful way this year. And I like that they're not just doing the same thing. We're not going back to the same well. The Alien Invasion was great.
It's not another invasion.
This is something new, and I'm very hyped for it.
Yeah, it's very cool. All right, let's go straight into your questions.
Woo!
Govind Sankar MR, sorry if I mispronounced your name, says, what do you think about The Question being a new CW DC show and part of the CW Arrowverse? I think it would be extremely cool to have a complete detective show and have them cross over with other characters, especially Arrow, where Oliver Queen and The Question work together would be extremely awesome. What do you think about that, Ashley?
I think if they're going to do The Question, I'd rather it be the Lady Question.
Oh, Renee Montoya.
Personally, because I like her better. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Now, we've been asked this question a couple of times on DCTV.
People are obsessed with The Question.
I agree. I think a Question CW series would be cool. I actually think it would work very well in the Arrowverse because it would be quite different. It could be your full-on cop show in this universe, which we don't have, even though we have a couple of main characters who are cops.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? In multiple shows, we have main characters that are cops, but none of these shows are cop shows.
They're all serving the James Gordon Batman role.
Yes, exactly. It would be interesting. I don't know how likely it is to happen because The Question just isn't that popular right now.
The perfect place for this character was Constantine.
I disagree with that.
I think it would have been the best place to spin this character out of.
The Question is not a mystical, really, character. I disagree with that. His perfect place actually is Arrow to be introduced. Is to be introduced in Arrow. But you know what? I've said this before. I think the last time we answered this question, I think it would be better to have a Question animated series.
I agree.
Before we get a live action appearance, and then test the waters there. So there you go. All right, Superhero Fan says, do you think Cisco will get new powers, and what do you think they will be? Ashley, do you think Cisco will get some new powers in this season?
I really don't think we're going to get new powers for Cisco.
Why? Superman Superhero Fan wants to know.
Because I think Barry's going to probably be the only one who gets new powers.
Sure, and Wally.
And Wally, if anyone is getting new powers. I also don't know that much about Vibe's traditional comic book powers, so do you, as a more Vibe comic fan, do you think he's going to get...
I don't think he's going to get more powers, but if anything changes, I think they finally might give him the Vibe ability that he has in the New 52, where he can negate the Speed Force.
That would be cool. That'd be useful.
Yeah, because they introduced the idea that Vibe, because he can vibrate on all kinds of frequencies, and one of those frequencies, that's the reason why he can travel the multiverse, and one of the elements of the multiverse is the Speed Force. So he can like literally point a finger at Barry, and Barry can't run.
That'd be cool.
You know, I think I wish they would bring that ability to him, because it's the reason why I think you make Vibe part of the Flash show. Yeah. Because otherwise, why is he there? But there, you know, I don't know. That's my opinion.
There you go.
Michael Turndrup says, do you think, I think this is an amazing question.
Ooh. Do
you think Supergirl will eventually do the death of Superman? Ashley, what do you think? I think we've also been asked a question that's very similar to this as well. I think we talked about this a little bit in the past. I think this question is amazing. Do you think Supergirl will ever tackle a version of that storyline, even if it's Supergirl that has the death?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to kill Harry's Superman, if I'm going to be completely honest. I think we're more likely to get a melding of it to do with Kara that homages the classic cover when she dies in Crisis on Infinite. I think we're more likely to get it as pertains to Supergirl.
You think we're more likely to get a death of Supergirl?
Yes, I do not think we're going to get a death of Superman. I think that pulls the focus too much, and I think that's a slippery slope when you bring Superman into a show called Supergirl. So I think for that reason that we might want to stay away from it.
Agreed.
What do you think?
I do think we get a version of this.
And I know it's a storyline that you really love.
I do. Well, it's a storyline that brought me into comic books. I don't know. I think you are correct. You are exactly correct with the idea that if you make it too much about Superman, the focus goes away from Supergirl. And that was something that was a little clunky in the season 2 finale of Supergirl, where it was where he was like, "Oh, you're way better." We had to have that fight in the beginning so that it would explain why she was the main fighter in the end.
It was a good fight, though.
But there is a way you could do it to where they're both fighting the same. Let's just say it's Doomsday.
Yeah.
They're both fighting Doomsday or Reign, and he's the one that sacrifices himself. And because I do think the idea that she has a season that dealing without her cousin.
Yeah.
And that she's the main protector of this world would be very interesting. I also think it would be amazing to do the mid-season finale where 4 different versions of what's the actor's name that plays Superman in this world?
Oh, Tyler Hoechlin.
Where Tyler Hoechlin plays like Cyborg Superman and Steel and Superboy.
Oh my God!
Like I think that would
his version of Connor would be.
But this would be the only This would be the only show where you could do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, on the other hand, you could do this same storyline where it's Supergirl that bites the dust. And then you are right. Like, it would be very interesting to see that famous image, although they already played with the image last year.
Yeah, they did. But it's maybe the most iconic Supergirl cover, so I think that's a well that we're going to be returning to.
They will do it. I don't know what season they'll do it. My prediction is they'll do it season 4.
I was thinking season 4 or 5.
They'll do it season 4 or 5. But I think you are right. I think they will do it. No, they won't do it in the crossover because it's too early. It's definitely going to be a season finale.
Oh, yeah, it would have to be.
But I think this storyline is so iconic to the Superman universe that I think we are definitely doing it.
Getting a version of it.
Yeah. Before we go, next week is going to be a total question and answer session, so we need as many of your awesome questions as possible down in the comments because we're going to have to film next week's DCTV a little bit early because we're going to be at New York Comic Con.
Yes, so why not click on one of the videos that's popped up on the screen, and for more exclusive geeky content, go to patreon.com/Jawiin.
We'll see you next week, Super Friends.